Hello guys, it's your boy. I'm a bit down with the sickness, so my voice is a bit fuck. I've had a off the books project going on for a couple of weeks now, and I thought I should share some of the details on here since I can't put the actual thing on YouTube, otherwise fucking mouse is gonna come down on me with the band hammer hard as fuck. So Book of Boba Fett came out in December, and yeah, it fucking sucked cock since there wasn't a lot of consistency with the storytelling. So I basically took the whole show, I trimmed down the fat a bit and made a fan cut version of it all. And it's basically a almost 4-hour long movie. And I thought I should share my changelog and put some of the clips up since I can't post the whole thing. So let's jump right into it. I started by rearranging all the flashbacks so that the story is told chronologically through one big flashback instead of dividing them up into each episode. I thought it felt proper. Since the flashbacks are basically the best part of the show, I wanted them to be condensed as one thing. For starters, I cut the Jawas knocking Boba out for laughs. It makes more sense for him to look for the armor in the Sarlacc pit later, since he was unconscious when they stripped it. I replaced the episodic title cards with one big card in the beginning, so it is to be viewed more as a movie than a series. I thought it fitting since the structure of it all would be a bit fucked. I cut the scene where the Sand People children beat Boba with sticks, since it just takes up time anyway. It's just silly. I cut the introduction of the speed bikers. Sure, it serves the purpose of biker gangs bad. Obviously the like a bantha scene gets fucking cut. It's just goofy, and I cut straight to the training montage. It is a million times better and proves that there is no reason for it to be in the script. I trimmed the train scene a bit. For example, when the conductor droid scurries off, I thought it odd for the camera to linger on him for as long as time as they did. Thank God he made it. I was so worried there for a second. I cut the lizard drug sequence, although it serves a purpose of Boba retrieving the stick, the wood for his gaffy stick, or the branch I should say. It's a bit goofy. I decided to cut it out. It makes sense for him to just approach one of the Tuskens, and the Tusken guy is like, here's a stick, fucking take that, I have it for you, ready to go. The graduation dance at the fire, it's a very cool scene, I like it, but it had to be cut since it ends the episode. I just cut it for time. Fennec Shand gets revived in that cyberpunk opening. That whole sequence, it doesn't fit the aesthetic of Star Wars, and it takes up time. It sets up Cobb Vanth's post-credit scene, and I decided to cut that as well, so I don't need any of this. And I figured a throwaway line will do that. Yeah, I took you to a mod shop. Yeah, and I'm fine with that. See, I trimmed the infiltration of Jabba's palace, the whole kitchen scene, chasing down the droid, and then the chef spinny hands, unnecessary fat. Get rid of it. The Boba Bantha interactions. It's cool to see Boba bond with a creature, but the show plays it for laughs. I cut it. Fuck it. I'm just not a funny guy. I just fucking cut the humor. I cut the scene where Slave 1 sticks its fucking head into the Sarlacc, since that scene is dumb as fuck and it just demeans Boba's character. I just cut from him massacring the bikers to him climbing out of the Sarlacc. I cut the tribute scene. It sets up the various crime lords and the mayor's major domo, but my intention was to cut as much of him as possible. Unfortunately, that meant cutting out the introduction of the 2 Gamoran guards. So in my version, they're just there, and I figured it wasn't too much of a stretch to assume Boba took over some of Bib Fortuna's guards as well. I edited the scene where Boba returns the assassin to the mayor to avoid as much tomfoolery as possible. I also edited the line, "You sit on the throne of your former employer." Bib Fortuna was not my employer. It was Jabba the Hutt's throne. Yes, and now it's mine. It's a pointless bickering, completely pointless for Boba to bring up Bib in that exchange. It only makes Boba split hairs. I trimmed the dinner scene with Fennec. Why the showrunners insist on putting astromech droids as butlers baffles me. Jabba did it out of convenience in Return of the Jedi. It can't be a common occurrence in this universe to put a droid specifically made for space navigation and have him serve drinks. It happens at least 6 times in this show. It's dumb. Just don't do it. Obviously I had to trim down the Vespa chase. That whole sequence is fucking dumb. I tried to minimize it as much as possible. Mando versus Paz Vizsla. I cut that scene. It's good. It's really good, in fact, but it doesn't belong in the Boba Fett show. Also, I trimmed the shipbuilding scene to save time. The whole test flight sequence and the interaction between Jin Darin and the 2 X-Wing police officers, I cut that entirely. I added some text here and there to describe planetary locations. I thought it'd be a fitting aesthetic. I cut as much of Luke and Grogu as possible. I loved every second of that in the show, but again, it doesn't belong. So in my version, all we see of Luke is Mando observing him from a distance, and then the choice scene. I cut all mention of renaming Mos Pelgo to Freetown, as it serves no purpose whatsoever. It actually baffles me how it is in the original script to begin with. I cut Cad Bane's line, Boba Fett is a cold-blooded killer who worked for the Empire. Well, yeah, Cad Bane is also a cold-blooded killer who blew up the Senate building and kidnapped several children, so this line is just dumb. I added Cad Bane's blaster sounds from Clone Wars, as well as the draw music from Bad Batch, to add some bamf to Cad's live-action debut. I cut Cad Bane's line, I didn't realize the Pikes were so ruthless. Isn't it given that one of the largest crime syndicates in the galaxy are ruthless? And since Bane has been in the business for over 50 years, it makes him sound like an amateur. The whole final episode is basically one giant battle, so I decided to trim that down a bit. As Cad Bane dies, I decided to add a little hint of Boba's theme from both Clone Wars and Empire Strikes Back to summarize sort of his journey. Since he was a child when he first met Cad Bane, and then leaving the bounty hunter life behind, I decided to have a little hint of his Empire Strikes Back theme. Those are basically all the major changes that I did. I hope you enjoyed this little rundown. If you did, please leave a like and subscribe to my niblet.